So in today's book review, we are going to be going over 8 takeaways from Into the Daylight, A Holistic Approach to Healing by Calvin Morrisseau. Hey guys, welcome to our first book review. We are reviewing Into the Daylight, A Holistic Approach to Healing by Calvin Morrisseau. We are going to go over 8 takeaways from this book. This is actually a really great book. See, I highlighted so much, and I just want to share with you that there are quite a bit of traumatic stories by the author and other people. I do recommend that you do read this book, and if you feel that you are not in the right mindset emotionally or mentally, make sure you have support set up in place. Alright, so takeaway number 1, our responsibility to our feelings. Traditionally in our tribes, each individual was responsible to maintain balance for their emotions and feelings. But today, because of all the things that have happened to our people, we have been taught to suppress our feelings, that our feelings don't matter, that our feelings are not important, to bury our emotions. And because we have been conditioned to not deal with our feelings, therapy and healing circles may seem unappealing. In this book, there's another person who shares a story about something that happened to them when they were a child, and their father came home drunk with a bunch of other men, and the dad was trying to show off to the other guys. So he had all his children line up in the living room. And then after that, when he was a grown-up, that man forgot all about what happened. But for some reason, he would always just shiver, just feel sick to the stomach whenever he heard a clicking noise. And he told one of his siblings that, and then his sibling told him what happened, and then he was able to remember. When we don't deal with our emotions and suppress it, our minds will forget, but our body will always remember, and that manifests as anxiety or emotions and reactions that we feel we have no control over. Takeaway number 2, our need for purpose. When I was a little girl, I was taught the Creator gives life by blowing on things. Calvin talks about that in his book. Each one of us has been given a purpose by the Creator. If we don't believe that, it's usually because we are disconnected from ourselves, our family, and our communities. And if you're living in survival mode, having a purpose is not a priority. And it can be hard to step into your purpose when nobody around you is living with purpose, when nobody acknowledges what you're doing or the progress you're making. What Calvin shares in his book is that when he started to find his purpose, he was getting sober, healing himself. He was also learning about his culture, his history, his community, what clan he belonged to, and what his clan's responsibilities were. He used his trauma and his healing to help other people and guiding them on how they can help their own communities. Takeaway number 3, communication. When we grow up in dysfunctional homes, we learn to communicate indirectly, not to speak, remain silent, or use silence as a form of power. And when we do that, we create resentment and feelings of manipulation on both sides of the conversation. And when we start healing ourselves, we learn to communicate with respect for ourselves and understanding of why the other person may choose not to, because we've been there too. Takeaway number 4, self-disclosing personal stories. Our stories are sacred, and we don't owe our stories to anybody. And when we are ready to heal, we are going to need safe places for us to share our past with, such as healing ceremonies and lodges, therapy sessions, support groups. And when we don't find those safe places, some of us who really want to heal will start blurting out our stories to our friends, our families, and people we just met at random times. And I've had that happen to me where out of nowhere somebody will just say something to me and I'll be like, oh, it was crazy. Like, I can't believe you just told me that. Completely shocked. And I know I've had to have done that to other people too. And the thing is, we can cause harm to ourselves and to other people when we're sharing our stories randomly with whoever, because once we share our story with that person, it is no longer in our hands. They can go tell whoever they want to, even if we ask them not to. And also, those stories that we're sharing with people, they could be traumatic for the other person to hear. So Calvin actually shares a guideline about disclosing your stories, and I would like to share them with you. 1, you must be disclosing for a specific reason. It should not be a random act, but part of an ongoing relationship. 2, it must concern what is happening at the time, and it should concern the person who you're telling the story to. 3, that story should be helping to improve the relationship by making it deeper and richer. 4, we should always consider the effects that the story will have on the other person. Calvin has these guidelines so that we can begin the process of trusting without hurting ourselves or others. Takeaway number 5, the importance of love and touch. So in the book, there are personal stories being shared about events that happened in his childhood. And it made me realize just how important it is that we hug our children every single day and we tell them that they are loved loved, that they are important, that they are valued and appreciated. If we haven't been demonstrated positive and healthy acts of affection and love, and we are approached by an abuser, we will carry that negative and unhealthy version of affection into our adulthood. And when we're children and when we're adults, we'll believe that's all we are worth. That's all we deserve. That's all we'll ever receive. And so we feel that we have no choice but accepting it. And when we do meet somebody who wants to love us, to be kind to us, to respect us, we reject it because it feels completely foreign and unknown to us. When we are children, we don't reject anything. We don't question anything. We just accept everything, that's the way it is. And so love your children. Hug them every single day. Not just a little hug and that's it. If you have to count to 10 seconds, count to 10 seconds. You want to make sure that their brain is releasing serotonin into their bodies so that they feel good, that they love being hugged. Even if they're driving you crazy, tell them that you love them every single day. So takeaway number 6, in a child's mind, the parents are good. So when we grow up in dysfunctional homes and our parents are abusive or alcoholics or not involved, we will believe that it's our faults, that we're the ones who are bad, and that if we just behave better or get better grades, that our parents' addictions will stop, that our parents will start loving us, our parents will think that our parents are going to start spending more time with us. And the reason why children will believe that they're bad and their parents aren't is because if they are to believe that their parents are the bad ones, it would create fear and insecurity. And when we do grow up, we try to control everything to compensate our lack of control that we had when we were children. And I want you to understand that when our parents were in residential school and our grandparents in residential school, they were taught that if they didn't physically discipline their children, that they were bad and that they were sinners and that they were terrible parents. Our parents and our grandparents, they didn't have access to resources and parenting support that we do now. Takeaway number 7, saying trauma is normal. So when we're growing up in dysfunctional homes, like I said earlier, when we're children, we are absorbing everything. We are accepting everything. When we see people drinking excessively, getting into fights, being physically and verbally abusive, constantly yelling, we end up believing that's normal. And we grow up to live that life. We grow up to believing that's normal, and we deal with our feelings like that. We deal with our problems the same way that we saw people dealing with their problems. Try to better your situation without actually healing yourself, doing the inner work. You will fill that void with excessive things. For me, it was just work harder. If I work harder, if I get more jobs, if I do more, things will get better. And it did not get better. It just added to my stress. And I want you to know you are very much capable of bettering yourselves. That strength is within you. Takeaway number 8. One of my favorite quotes is from this book, and I want to share that quote with you. My spirituality allows me to see the goodness in you before I see anything else. It is the part of me which asks me to disclose my soul to you and say it's okay when you don't understand. My spirituality is the part leading me to a greater awareness of another manner of living, a world where our ancestors still live, waiting and supporting us on this journey. All right, so that was the 8 takeaways from Into the Daylight, A Holistic Approach to Healing by Morrisseau. I hope you guys enjoyed our first book review. Please comment below and let me know what was your favorite part. And also like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell button. Thank you. You guys have a great day.